You know that feeling, right? You're mashing an elevator button like it personally offended you. Or you're refreshing your inbox for, I don't know, the 10th time in the last minute. That's just the default speed of modern life. But at the exact same time, somewhere out there, a glacier is carving its way through a valley. It's moving slower than you can possibly see, but with more power than you can even imagine. What if I told you that the glacier's strategy is the one you've been missing all along?
So let's get into it. This is what we're talking about today, the patience principle. It's this forgotten advantage in a world that is absolutely, completely obsessed with speed. And it's not about being slow, not at all. It's about being strategic.
Because here's the real secret, the thing you need to get. That constant urge for now, that little nagging voice in your head, it's not a character flaw, it's not a personal failing, it's an evolutionary hangover. And in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to rewrite that ancient, glitchy code. To really master patience, you first have to understand the enemy. And let me tell you, the enemy isn't time, it's your own brain, which is running on some seriously outdated software. Okay, check this out, because this is the core of the problem. Our brains were forged out on the savannah, where immediate action was everything. That see berry, eat berry instinct, that's what kept us alive. See a predator? Run. Delay could literally mean death. The problem is, that exact same brain is now trying to manage 5-year plans and quarterly reports. It's applying that same now logic to everything. So it interprets a slow career path as a survival threat, and that's where all that modern anxiety comes from.
And this ancient wiring of ours is being expertly, and I mean expertly, exploited. Modern tech has created what we can call the dopamine economy. Every single notification, every like, every pull to refresh on your phone is engineered to give you a tiny, addictive hit of dopamine. It's like feeding your brain a constant diet of digital candy, which makes the nutritious full meal of long-term effort seem totally unappealing. And this is the loop that gets us all hooked. It's simple. A trigger, like posting a photo, leads to an action, which is getting likes and comments. That gives you a reward, that little dopamine hit of social validation, and that makes you crave it all over again. This cycle is the engine of modern social media. And what it does is it trains our brains to reject anything that doesn't have an immediate payoff. Our meaningful long-term goals just can't compete with that.
So on top of our biology and our technology, we have our culture. The cult of hustle is constantly telling us that if we aren't moving, we're failing. But so much of that motion is just frantic. It's not productive, it completely mistakes being busy for making progress, and it slaps the label of lazy on something like strategic patience.
So, this is where we flip the script. The most crucial thing to understand is that we need to totally redefine what patience even means. It's not passive waiting. It's an intensely active, really powerful strategy. Let's dig into what that actually looks like.
This comparison is just perfect. The pot watcher? That's what most people think patience is. Just sitting there staring, inert, tapping your foot. But true patience, that's the chef. Yeah, the sauce might be simmering on its own timeline, but the chef is active. They're chopping vegetables, cleaning the counter, tasting, adjusting. They're creating the conditions for a perfect outcome. It's all about preparation, not resignation.
Or think about it this way. Approach your goals with a gardener's mindset. A gardener doesn't dig up the seed every single day to check if it's growing. That would kill it. Instead, they focus on what they can control: the water, the sunlight, pulling the weeds, the quality of the soil. You create the optimal conditions for growth, and then you trust the process. You are actively nurturing, not just passively hoping. And this brings us to that famous 10,000-hour rule, which, honestly, most people get completely wrong. Just putting in the time is not enough. Driving the same route to work for 20 years doesn't make you a professional race car driver. That's just passive repetition. The race car driver, they're engaged in deliberate practice. They're focused, they're pushing their limits, they're constantly seeking feedback. It's the quality of the hours that matters, not just the quantity. All right, now let's be real for a minute. This is the hardest part of the entire journey. All this active, patient work, it's emotionally taxing. You have to cross this really difficult chasm between where you are right now and where you want to be. Anyone who's ever tried to build or create anything knows this feeling. It's called the gap. It's when you know what excellence looks like. You have good taste, but your own work, it's just not there yet. And that gap, that space between your ambition and your current reality, that's where doubt and frustration live. And it's where almost everyone gives up. So how do you cross it? How do you survive the gap? Well, there's a simple psychological trick. You shift your focus. Stop staring at that huge, overwhelming outcome goal way off in the distance. Instead, focus on a small, totally controllable process goal that you can achieve today. You can't directly control losing 20 pounds, but you can absolutely 100% control going for a 30-minute walk. This gives you a sense of agency. It creates these small wins that build the momentum you need to keep going.
And if you can just stick with those little process goals day in and day out, you get to unlock the most powerful force in the universe. This is the payoff. This is the mathematical, logical reason why patience is the ultimate strategy.
So when you start, your progress feels, well, flat. You're putting in the work every single day, but the results are tiny. They're almost invisible. This right here is the desert of disappointment. It feels like absolutely nothing is happening. And this is exactly where most people's patience runs out. They quit right before the magic happens. But, and this is the most important but, if you keep going, you eventually hit an inflection point. And suddenly, all those small, consistent efforts, they reach a critical mass, and the growth curve just shoots upwards, almost vertically. This is the cliff of compound growth. To everyone else, it looks like an overnight success, but you know it was built on years of patient, unglamorous work in the desert.
The Chinese bamboo tree is the absolute perfect, real-world example of this. For 4 long years, you see no visible growth above the ground. Nothing. But all the work is happening underground, building this massive, complex root system. Then in its 5th year, it just explodes, growing 90 feet in only 6 weeks. Your journey is exactly the same. The time you spend in that desert is never wasted. You're just growing your roots.
Okay, let's bring it all home with the final and maybe the most advanced piece of the puzzle. Patient activity isn't just about doing the right things, it's also about knowing when not to do anything at all. It's about the incredible power of the strategic pause.
You know, fighter pilots use this mental model called the OODA loop to make life or death decisions in seconds. Now, the secret to this whole loop, the part that impatient people always skip, is the second step, orient. Impatient people observe something and then they immediately act. But the strategist, the patient one, takes a crucial pause to orient, to analyze, to reflect, to really understand what the data actually means. All the power is in that pause. So you're probably wondering, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually start building this muscle? Well, here is a tangible plan, a 7-day challenge. For the next week, just try this protocol. Identify your own personal gap in one area of your life. Define one daily process goal. And this one might be the most important. Try to embrace 10 minutes of pure boredom. No phone, just let your mind wander and reclaim it from the dopamine economy. And at the end of the week, celebrate your consistency, not the outcome.
Look, the world is not going to slow down. It's going to keep spinning faster and faster, demanding more from you right now. But you don't have to spin with it. You can be the eye of the storm. That calm, powerful center that moves with intention, not impulse. So plant your seeds, grow your roots, and trust the process. Your time isn't just coming. It's growing silently, right now, right under your feet. The only real question is, will you be patient enough to see it through?